If you want to spend your time in the U.S., this is the wrong league for you.
I think what LIV has done has exposed some of the weaknesses in the professional golf model.
PGA Tour and LIV Golf leaders make shocking announcement. For 4 years, golf has been fighting what's being called the money war. 4 years of lawsuits, press conferences, and locker room bitterness. And now, in the span of one single week, both sides just blew the whole thing up. But not the way you think. Everyone assumed this war would end with a merger, a handshake, a big check that made all the lawyers go home happy. That's not what happened. What happened is stranger, and honestly, a lot more brutal for one side than the other. Here's exactly what went down. Let's start with the PGA Tour, because their move is the one that tells you where golf is actually going. Brand new CEO, Brian Rolapp. He's not a golf guy. He came over from the NFL, which is basically the closest thing sports has to a Fortune 500 boardroom. And instead of coming in defensive, protecting the old guard, protecting the tradition, he did something no PGA Tour boss has really done in this entire war. He admitted they were wrong. He said it flat out. The tour got complacent. Too many events, not enough imagination, a product that had basically gone to sleep. And then he backed that admission up with an actual plan, not a press release full of nothing. The FedEx Cup is getting overhauled. There's a new 2-tier system coming with relegation, meaning your PGA Tour card is no longer a lifetime pass, it's something you can lose, and underneath that, a brand new Challenger Series to feed the next generation up. Quick pause, because I want to know where you stand on this one. If you think this restructure is exactly the kick in the pants the PGA Tour needed, type "about time" below. If you think they only did this because LIV forced their hand, type "LIV won." I'm reading every single comment on this one. Now, not everybody's cheering. Rory McIlroy came out and basically trashed the new lower tier, calling it a glorified Corn Ferry Tour. His worry is real. You could end up with a permanent underclass of pros, technically PGA Tour players, fighting over scraps while the top guys hoover up all the money and TV time. But love it or hate it, that's a tour acting like it has a future. That's a tour making moves instead of just defending what it already has. Now flip over to the other side of the money war, because LIV's announcement isn't a victory lap, it's an emergency. The Saudi Public Investment Fund, the people who bankrolled this entire thing to the tune of roughly $6 billion, just said they're done. No more funding after the 2026 season. And once you see the math, you understand why. LIV was burning through about $100 million a month, every single month, for 4 years, with almost nothing to show for it. No real ratings, no mainstream breakthrough, nothing close to a sustainable business. So here's what happened next, and it happened fast. The chairman, Yasir Al-Rumayyan, the man who literally created LIV, stepped down from the board. Restructuring experts got called in to figure out if this thing can even be saved. Whispers started about a possible U.S. bankruptcy filing. A scheduled tournament got quietly postponed, no real explanation given. The CEO, Scott O'Neill, started shopping the league around to outside investors, trying to raise somewhere between $250 and $350 million just to keep the lights on. There's now real talk of shrinking the entire league down to as few as 10 events. And the purses, the prize money players were promised when they signed, are reportedly on the table to get slashed too. 7 back-to-back gut punches, all inside a matter of weeks. 4 years ago, nobody saw this coming. The assumption was the Saudi money was bottomless, that LIV would simply outlast the PGA Tour and buy the sport outright. Instead, the side everyone thought was untouchable is the one now begging for a lifeline. So here's what's actually going on. This isn't 2 separate stories. It's one story told from 2 different rooms. Picture it. Walk into PGA Tour headquarters right now, and you find a team unveiling bold new plans, admitting to old mistakes from a position of total confidence, talking about the next 10 years like they already own them. Walk into LIV's offices, and you find board resignations, consultants combing through the books, a canceled tournament nobody wants to talk about, and a CEO on the phone trying to convince strangers to keep the whole operation breathing. Same war. 2 completely different rooms. Let's slow down for a second because the why here matters more than the headlines. Rolapp coming from the NFL isn't a small detail, it's the whole explanation. The NFL is the most ruthlessly commercial league on the planet, and Rolapp brought that mentality straight into a sport that had treated its own format like scripture for decades. His admission that the tour hurt itself wasn't weakness, it was strategy. He understood something previous PGA Tour leadership never fully accepted. You don't beat LIV by waiting for it to collapse. You beat it by building something better before it does. And on the LIV side, the player fallout is its own subplot. Bryson DeChambeau, whose contract is up at the end of 2026, is actually still out there helping LIV's CEO pitch investors, pushing a team franchise, player equity model, trying to save the thing from the inside. Meanwhile, other LIV players are quietly working the phones, trying to find a path back to the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour before the league they signed with might not exist anymore. Save the league, or save yourself. That's the choice LIV players are making right now. And here's the part that's almost ironic. Even as LIV falls apart financially, its fingerprints are all over the PGA Tour's new plan. The relegation system, the elevated events, the entire "we can't be complacent anymore" mindset, none of that happens without LIV kicking the door in first. LIV may not survive this war, but it already rewrote the rules of the sport, whether it gets credit for it or not. So back to where we started. 4 years of a war everyone thought would end in a merger. It didn't end that way. It ended with one side announcing its future and the other side announcing its survival plan. The PGA Tour won the war. LIV lost the game it built. If this finally connected the dots for you, smash that like button. It's the single biggest signal that tells the algorithm to put this in front of more golf fans trying to make sense of all this. And subscribe, because this story isn't close to over. LIV's next move could drop any day now, and when it does, I'll be breaking it down here first.